Here we are. Welcome back, everybody. It's another beautiful day out here. We're doing our outdoor set. Groot is here. Welcome back, Groot. And we're here, man. I think this is our 97th pick. I don't know who out there has watched all of the films as we inch our way towards 100, but I will say we are very close. We've almost made it to number 100. A couple other numbers for you real quick. We just recently got to 200 followers on Instagram, so that's fun, at least for me. Our subscribers are up here on YouTube, so give it up for yourselves. And yeah, if you did want to catch up on some of the older films that we've done, I haven't done these video reviews for all of them. We started oh so long ago on Facebook, and the Facebook group is still there if you want to participate there. But if you wanted to scroll through, you'll see I used to write my reviews, and ever since we got on Instagram, now we got videos. So I haven't made videos for all of the picks that we've watched, but if you did want to get a comprehensive list of the things that we've watched, there is a list that I update every week on Letterboxd, which is a really fun kind of cinephile social media platform. If you're not on Letterboxd, it's a whole lot of fun. But under my name right here, we have the whole list there, so you can go back all the way back to the very beginning if you want. But yeah, let's go right into it, man. Who watched this week's pick? SYMBIOPSYCHOTAXIPLASM Take One. Not to be confused with SYMBIOPSYCHOPLASM Take 2.5. Which is the sequel for those out there who are just dying for more. Yeah, what a bizarre movie, right? I did not know what I was getting myself into when I turned this on. I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I picked this movie. I was just like, yeah, let's keep it going on the Criterion Channel. As I'm sure you've known if you're following with these videos every week. We've been watching a lot of the Black Lives Matter selections on the Criterion Channel. Some great picks that we've watched in the last 6-7 weeks with that. But this SYMBIOPSYCHOTAXIPLASM Take One, it's hard to say over and over again. But I loved this movie, and it just like bit into me immediately and kept me there. It's only an hour and 15 minutes long, which is another nice thing about this film, is you can kind of just experience it quickly and have everything you need right there. Before we talk about the film itself, I do want to talk about the filmmaker, William or Bill Greaves. I want to talk to you as well about this great interview that is on the Criterion Channel as part of the Criterion collection of this film, which is an interview with Steve Buscemi, and he talks about seeing this film in 1992 at the Sundance Film Festival. I'm going to back up a little bit. This film, SYMBIOPSYCHOTAXIPLASM Take One, was made in 1968 by producer, writer, director, and editor Bill Greaves. Bill Greaves is an incredible human being, and I'll talk about him in just a second. But the film did not get a proper release once the film was finished. Fun fact, he wanted it to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Sent it in. It was not accepted into the festival, and he thought that he was like, shit, I thought I made a really good movie. Maybe it's not as good as I thought. And so he just kind of shelved it and went about his career and made, a bunch more documentaries and television and things like that. Turns out the guy who had received the film had the reels mixed up. And so he watched this film out of order. And it's already confusing enough as it is. But so with the reels out of order, it's very likely that you're going to run into, one of the nice things about filming outside, you might hear my helicopter friend flying around, but we won't worry about him. I'm still going. Anyway, so it did not get into the Cannes Film Festival because it was viewed improperly. Cut to many years later, and a woman is curating, I should know her name, but she's curating like a retrospect of Bill Greaves' career for the Brooklyn Museum. And so he sends all of his films to her, and she's trying to come up with the programming. And she says, what's this Symbio whatever? And he said, oh, that's my first film. You don't have to watch it. It's not very good. Don't worry about it. She watched it, and she was like, we're opening with this film. And so then cut to 1992 Sundance Film Festival, where it is getting this screening, and Steve Buscemi happened to be there. And he tells this great story. You should really watch his interview about it, because he did go on to help make Take 2.5 with Steven Soderbergh. So The film did wind up getting seen almost 30 years later and was very well received. And so let's talk about the film. Bill Greaves, you guys, holy shitballs, this guy's a genius. I immediately was like kind of, as I'm trying to figure out the movies, I'm sure if you watched it, you were as well. I started to kind of catch a whiff of the experiment / prank. I want to call it a prank. Because the film really reminded me of the Joaquin Phoenix documentary, I'm Still Here. Where as you're watching it, you're not entirely sure how much you're getting fucked with, how much of it is documentary, how much of it is planned, who in the story knows whether or not it is a prank or reality. And there are other films as well that kind of deal with this meta nature of filmmaking and what it means to what is film, what is art, all these fun existential questions. But so first let's just get into it. This is a film about a film being filmed. So if you've ever spent any time on a film set, which maybe some of you have, doesn't matter the level, honestly. If you've ever spent time on a film set, there are things that you were privy to that the general public that are just audience members are not privy to. So you have, in the context of this film, we are making a movie in Central Park. So far, there's only one scene. It's like a husband and a wife, maybe, and they're having an argument that involves his potential homosexuality, her like numerous abortions. It's like this kind of really upsetting dialogue scene that doesn't really have any place in a story. And so you have 3 cameras and you see all of this happen. There's these great sections where like there's just 3 squares on screen and you're seeing all 3 cameras because Bill kind of in a convoluted way, and I think it was on purpose, explains what's happening, which is that we're going to film the scene and then there's a secondary unit that's filming the filming of that scene, and then there's a third unit that's filming all of that. I know. But what winds up happening is you get this beautiful experiment where if you have, and I'm going to just kind of jump to a lot of conclusions here, and I might skate over some of the deeper meanings of the film, but this is just kind of what I gleaned from first glance. That you have the dictatorial head honcho, which is the director. And in this case, the director is not so much the one in charge making the movie, but the director's actually like the first on the call sheet actor. The director's actually the main character of the film, but he's playing a version of himself, I guess. And so you have a very confused crew. Not to mention, we're filming the same scene every day with different actors. So the crew is seeing the same scene get done over and over again, and it's a poorly written scene, and it's not about anything, and so it's almost like they're just stuck in filmmaking limbo where they have to listen to the director and they don't want to disrespect him completely by second guessing every move he makes on set, but at the same time, no one in the crew seems to be happy. So early in the film, we're dropped into this room where the crew is actually kind of like mutinizing the whole production, and they've gotten together by themselves to film themselves, unbeknownst to Bill, talking about what the fuck they think they're doing in the making of this movie and what is their function in Bill's greater vision. Let's give you a little context. So I did watch, there's a great hour-long documentary called Discovering William Greaves, and it's part of the thing here on Criterion. Here's a guy who was a member of the American Negro Theater in New York, which famously had Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, Ruby Dee were all members of this theater company. He goes on to be a member of the Actors Studio, where he's working with and under Lee Strasberg in same classes as like Marlon Brando and Paul Newman and stuff. So like he's an actor. He's a proper classically trained theater actor who is moving into a screen acting career. He has a couple film credits under his belt as an actor, but to cut it short, you should watch this hour-long documentary, but to cut it short, he winds up kind of not wanting to do that, and he goes to, and I forget the name of it, I want to call it like the National Film Society. You'll find out when you watch the documentary. But he goes to Canada to learn documentary filmmaking, and he spends about 10 years as an editor of documentary films. He then goes on to, he winds up back in the States, and he's working for like a 60 Minutes 2020 kind of show called Black Journal, where he winds up being the executive producer of this show. And so he's like this very accomplished guy. He wins an Emmy. He makes a documentary about Muhammad Ali that's very well received. He kind of reinvents the form a little bit with that. And in the documentary that I watched, they called it like this Ken Burns style, where it's like we're doing a voiceover narration on top of still photographs. And he made this whole documentary about like the Harlem Renaissance, where he did it in that style. And so he's this very accomplished documentary filmmaker. So once you get to 1968 and he's helming this film, which has another title, and I forget what, it's like Over the Cliff or something. He's telling the cop that comes by to try and see their permit, and that's a whole nother element, is they're doing this filming in Central Park, and so like they constantly are showing how often the police are coming and wanting to see the permit. They're showing other people in the park kind of wondering what this is, what this film is. There's a terrific scene towards the end where this homeless guy, Victor, I love Victor, he wanders into the set and just starts kind of waxing philosophical about all kinds of things, about homelessness and money and politics, and oh, we're making a movie, well, who's moving whom? He's incredible. And it's like, I found out from the documentary that I keep mentioning that part of the concept that Bill wanted with these 3 cameras on set was to basically always have a camera shooting wherever the energy was coming from organically. So every once in a while we'll just kind of cut to somebody walking their dog, or cut to somebody rowing a boat, and we're not really cutting to them. It's more like we're filming this scene that I was mentioning of this married couple, and then like boom boom, we'll see the camera filming the scene, and then that third camera will kind of be filming something over here while we're still seeing this over here, and something else is happening. You guys, it really is kind of mind-boggling. When I really want to watch it again, and then I want to watch take 2.5. But yeah, I was just floored watching this movie, and I just want to bow at the altar of William Greaves, because he really kind of built an environment where he became the outcast in his own realm of reality that he had made, and then he wanted to document what it looks and feels like. I really don't know, you guys. It's just crazy. But to just kind of loop back and finish this up, Steve Buscemi talks about seeing this film at Sundance, and he chose it because he just thought the title was ridiculous. And in the middle of the showing, the projector broke, and the director, who was standing in the back, Bill Greaves, he kind of comes up and is like, well, looks like we're having technical difficulties, so does anyone have any questions so far? And he was convinced that it was some kind of like film performance art. Like the projector didn't really break. It was meant to happen this way, where now the audience is like part of the film, the same way that the crew is involved in those mutiny scenes. And so it just sounds like it was this really, you had to be there kind of screenings. And he even talks about how it'll come up and it'll be like, oh, you were there, I was there, oh my God, remember when the projector broke? Wasn't that so weird? And so he winds up becoming friends with Bill and talks about his involvement in the second part. And so it's really just like, I'm so glad that we watched this movie. It's so weird, but what a successful experiment, and what a piece of American black independent new wave, whatever you want to call it. All I know is it's a shame that this film didn't get to just like come out guns a-blazing at the end of the 60s, because it really is. I mean, you have a multicultural cast, multi-ethnic crew. You have this black lead actor who's also the director, producer. So there's a lot of layers to why this film should have been known all along. But the beauty of things like this is when you find these pieces of buried treasure. Cane River, what we watched not too long ago, 2 weeks ago now, I guess, is another one where goes unseen for so long, and now thanks to the Criterion Collection or I don't know, anybody that's really doing the work of finding these films and restoring these films. I can't thank you enough. So yeah, that's it for this week. I hope if you didn't watch this movie, do yourselves a favor and go check it out. It is so cool and so weird, but not in like the way that you'd think, maybe. I don't know. I've already been talking for 15 minutes, so I'll let you go. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to this here YouTube channel. Go ahead and tell your friends. Go to that letterbox thing, like I said, if you want to check out the older films. We'll have another pick for you. I'm going to try and get back on schedule. I was lacking a little bit this week. I was lagging. But yeah. And in case you were wondering, this is a concert I went to.